and a hell in his eye. Ought to use it.
Oh. Oh, yes, it's this. What do we have here? Whoa. Okay, so do we talk to these guys, or do we go down here first? I'm guessing we probably want to talk to them. And they might lead us down there. But we could, again, save, just to be safe.
What
What's
are
up,
you
guys?
doing here?
What? The sun flying from the moon? We're making offerings to the ALLGOD, clearly.
Who is this ALLGOD of which you
aid.
speak?
That's if you got fitting offerings. He scorned ours, then cursed the old village.
Yeah, maybe don't do that then.
The ALLGOD, you call him. First I've heard. Is some new deity?
Nay, 'tis ancient, revered by our forefathers.
Yeah, sure
Let's
it
say
was.
We're like this. Roslav of Oriton came here to gather brushwood. Suddenly, for no reason, a bush burst into flame. Then,
Did it now?
Roslav heard a voice from the ground, demanding offerings and obedience.
Yeah, did you perhaps look
We've been
at
coming here
the
since then, bearing
chamber
gifts,
underground?
in exchange for which the ALLGOD
The
watches
dungeon?
over us, keeps us from evil.
Plain to see that.
So yeah, what went wrong here? Is the person who was screaming from the dungeon down below not happy with what you gave him?
So what's wrong with your offerings?
You needn't mock us, you can see right well we brought scraps. Before the war, I wouldn't give this such to me elms. But what can we do? Such are the times.
And they're like to get worse. ALLGOD said if he don't get a rafter of bacon and a barrel of beer at least, the rivers will fill up with frogs and lotuses or some such will devour the harvest.
And your firstborn children, just remember to put the X over your doors.
I could intercede on your behalf with this ALLGOD of yours. Got a feeling we'd come to an understanding.
Well, I suppose it can't hurt to try. To speak with him, you've to stand before the altar and cry out, ALLGOD, help a poor wretch in need. Who knows, he might just listen to a foreigner.
Okay. Let's... excuse you. Let's see what level it's saying this is. 7? Probably a pretty good fit for now then. Trust the ALLGOD using the altar that you were saying is basically right here. Okay. Oh, it's this. Okay, so again, we could theoretically go down into that dungeon. I'm thinking it probably makes more sense
Damn it.
for us to wait to do that, because we may very well end up going through there once we hear from this ALLGOD.
Oh, ALLGOD, help a poor wretch in need. Pretty please.
It's taking it so seriously.
Disturb my divine rest, mortal.
I dare disturb it because I want your divine self to lift the, curse you cast. Those peasants really don't have.
They must bring worthy offerings or they shall face drought, driving hail, earthquakes, avalanches. I have spoken.
Avalanches? Here? How would that work? No answer from the ALLGOD. Fine. We can finish our conversation when I find him. Voice came from underground.
Yeah, he's just, talking from some kind of, he's definitely down here, right? He's just, like, talking through a tin can with a wire connecting it to another tin can that's on the other side of this. Definitely. Oh, what is the deal here, though?
Wine. More like vinegar. Someone drank it anyway. Could follow the scent.
Yeah, so this, I'm sure, will lead us back down here, where we would have found, if we hadn't found it already, the place that leads us down here, where, oh! Yeah, there is definitely someone or something here.
What? Who dares disturb my divine being?
Geralt of Rivia.
Hello,
Pleasure.
all God.
Expected the ALLGOD to be corporeal in form, but never thought he'd be corpulent. Fattened up nicely at those peasants' expense.
Expense? Expense? Not a word about the help I give in return. Blessings, absolutions, enlightened advice. Believe me, these folks need all of it. I'd watch over them still if they fulfilled their end. But lately, they offer these pathetic scraps.
Yeah, you just gotta see things from the
But they
ALLGOD's
steal from the
perspective.
mouths of their children, and to make matters worse, you cast a curse on them.
And I'll not lift it till they bring me worthy offerings. I'm to settle for curds and whey? Not a chance. And you can tell them that.
Yeah, so like, what's the deal? Been calling this place home for a while?
Been in this hole long?
It's a nice place, you
For a century or so. One winter I found shelter here. Built a fire so large the flames leapt through the crack. Lit the bushes above.
Okay.
I coughed from the smoke. And suddenly heard a peasant. A voice out of nowhere, he called. A miracle. Thus, I became a god.
Okay.
Parasite, more like.
Maybe so. But what of Freya and Melitele then, Demanding prayers and offerings, given naught in return? I talk at least.
Yeah, I'm not sure that really makes much of a difference, though. So... okay, so we could just get rid of this guy. We could say these people are pretty down on their luck, so accept what they can give you and be happy with it. Or we could say, basically side with this guy and say, villagers, you gotta pay up. This is kind of like strongly with the villagers. This is a little bit of a middle ground, and then this is siding with ALLGOD, it seems. Let's start with the middle ground.
Listen here, Lord Ass. You're gonna be satisfied with what you get, or I'll feed you to the ravens.
Plowing reformers. No, fine, fine.
Excuse
I'll
me?
sup more modestly. But just till the end of the war, not one day longer.
I half expected him to turn around and slap us in the face. Okay, now it says talk to the peasants. Okay. Can we take things from down here? Like, say, Radovid the Stern? Hard slog to greatness? It's a hard life, being heir to the throne, you know? You're Devil's Puffball. We don't have that yet, and that is a very good recipe to pick up. Otherwise, mostly alcohols, which is fine, but not as notable, I don't think. English, that's not loot. Anything here? There is. Ruby. You got plenty of stuff here, ALLGOD. Oh, Iridium. Now that's nice. Emerald as well. Moonstones. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, buddy. You're doing fine for yourself down here. Not like you're gonna be using those rubies for anything. Alright, peasants, so, got some news for you.
Anything new?
Yeah.
Talk to your ALLGOD, face to face.
And
What?
will he show us mercy?
He will. Promise to be pleased with whatever you bring.
I told you. I told you the ALLGOD's merciful understanding. Thanks, Witcher.
Yeah, maybe just let them know. I mean, they might then proceed to go down there and ALLGOD gets mad and attacks them and no more villagers. But it probably still would be best if we informed them. That way, we're giving them the information. It's up to them to do what they see fit with that information. They can decide to go down, they can decide not to go down. Up to them.
Oh, one last thing. Did you know there's a crypt beneath this hill? Might want to take a look sometime. Architecture's fascinating.
It really is. Can we actually see if they check it out? Hold on. 2 experience points. Oh boy. Are they gonna head down there? See what they do. But it's wide open, guys. You're gonna stare at it? Are you actually gonna go down? Looks like you're just gonna stare at it.
Busy, busy man.
Yeah. Very busy doing that,
Top
though.
of the day.
Okay. So, it seems we have now figured that stuff out. Really? 5 experience is what we need? Okay, so that should mean that if we were to do basically anything at this stage, even fight a pack of wild dogs, probably get enough experience to level up. But I think we still get 1 experience even if we fight super low level enemies. That might not be true. Does the experience penalty ever get so huge from being stronger than your opponents that you actually get 0 experience? This is like sort of a path here. Where does this lead? The ocean? Yeah. Okay, so. Not sure if there's anything of particular note. The end of it, though, doesn't really seem like it. Okay. So, whoa! What is this? Some bandits? These might be the guys we're looking for in that case to get said level. 1 bandit, 2 bandit. In theory, we'd need 5 of them. Oh, there's only 3. You gonna do this to us? Sure. His sec. Suppose we probably should have expected that. Couldn't find this guy's loot previously, but there it is. Hair kit. It's actually not bad. So now, if you could give us just like the tiniest little pack, theoretically that should be enough. And is this the edge of some outpost? Perhaps the one we were at before? Seems like it. Yep. Okay. So that's the manor. And then I thought we were seeing the, what was it? The racing, that we could do that at Orton. And if that is the case, then maybe we do that now. Let's just double check. Oh no, it was the Gwent. Gwent stuff. There's someone at Orton. So maybe we do that while we're in this area. Try not to miss any other Gwent opportunities. Where is this? No. Way the heck over here. So, let's not do that one now. But we could do this. And then go to Orton. And if we can win that Gwent match, then I would assume that we can get that level. And I assume that this is the same deal that we saw previously with Downworn, where although there were notices at the notice board, it seemed as though they were all things we'd already seen. Battlefield. Someone go to work. Poem. No one breathed a word about what happened on Fife Isle. We've been there. Yeah, I don't think there's anything that we can do ourselves. Okay, so we want to go here. To this spot. You are apparently our person.
Build your boats in Pinewood?
Of course not. Wench dragged me some pine so I'd make her a cradle.
It's definitely the
Boat
same guy we were
business
just
not
talking to
booming?
earlier.
Not well at all. Ain't no fish.
But I heard you play Gwent.
Heard you're a good boatwright, and an even better card player.
Wanna play?
Always
know it.
ready for a round.
It's been a little while.
Traveled, so tell me.
Oh, and actually, yeah, we did see that we got the new spy a little while ago. So that might be worth swapping in. Is it as simple as getting rid of Stennis, put him in? Or is he better than some of our other cards? We'd rather keep Stennis? That'd be the case. Who is objectively our worst card at this stage? Do we have anyone who's a 4 who doesn't do anything special? Don't think so. But we did buy an additional decoy as well. Could potentially even be weather effect. We need 2 clear weathers, that feels like a little bit overboard. Maybe we remove that. Add this guy. And I think that's going to be best for us. We do have a 4 here, but this guy doubles up and can actually triple up. We play the same card in the same round. So can actually turn into one of our strongest cards. So yeah, I think I probably prefer that. Oh, hold on. Don't forfeit. Let's start the game. And I think, as we were thinking about earlier, there's a chance that we might be able to now play with a deck other than Northern Realms. That might be a little bit tempting. Okay, so remember our leader ability doubles the siege row right now. That does mean that it's not a bad idea to have some siege units in our hand. Stennis would be our spy. 2 of these guys, and we have a couple of spies then, which is a bit devious in that we could get a bunch of cards back. So what I'm thinking is, what we go for here is we go for a pretty aggressive round 1, and in round 2 we'll deliberately lose, play both of our spies, and get a bunch of cards back, and have more cards than our opponent for round 3, which should hopefully give us enough of an advantage to emerge victorious. So, question I'm having then is, do we want the weather effects? If we were to go really aggressive, it does seem like we'd likely do that in the melee row. In round 1, play this guy, play Vess. That goes to what? These guys get doubled, so they're 8 apiece, so 8, 16, and 21. And then that's probably it in terms of what we play. Maybe we even double them to 42. And then round 3, we play both these guys in our opponent's melee row. Maybe we even nerf the melee row. Maybe we can sneak in a round 2 victory. That's a little bit speculative. But, okay. In that case, I don't think we're going to want the siege row nerf, unless if we do that in round 1 or maybe even round 2. But round 3, we're definitely not going to want it, because I think round 3 is going to be our siege unit row. Our siege unit round. So let's swap this out. And Siegfried in the melee row probably means that just gives us a little more ammunition for round 1, which is probably not a bad thing. Then we can potentially hold off on the Commander's Horn. Play that by ear a little bit. Oh, probably we'll still play in round 1 anyway, but so we'll have it through our hero ability in round 3. So let's go with this, I think, in that case. So, who goes first? Remind me. They go first. They're Nilfgaard. Okay, so we are going to go hard on melee as well. So, probably a good thing that they're playing melee. Might be reason enough for them to not want to nerf it. Hopefully. I've seen some really tough Nilfgaardian card opponents. I'm thinking, of course, of the person that we played back in Vizima, was just way better than us. Now, this would be an instance where we might have found it helpful to have the nerf for the siege row for this very purpose, because we're not expecting to play any siege cards this round. Although we are tied, even though we've only played 2 cards and our opponent has played 3. That's still a good sign. And then we just continue to load up on melee. Now they could theoretically nerf melee and we'd be in a tough spot. Yeah, their Citra is looking better and better by the minute, but we are still likely to double this into melee row here. They're going crazy on siege. Guess what we do? We double here. Bring us up to 52 now. Hopefully that's enough to discourage our opponent. No, they're going to keep on going. Oh, they're playing spies to deliberately build up more cards. We get to double the spy as well, because that spy was also in the melee row. So, yeah, we got 70 here, which might be the highest we've ever gotten. But did our opponent pass here? They may not have, but either way, we're going to pass. Looks like our opponent is going to do the same thing. If they want to throw away cards, then great. They are doing that. Fantastic. You have Letho, which is pretty crazy. But if you want to throw away all your cards and still lose this round, that would be fantastic. It looks like you might be about to do that. You appear to be doing that. You are definitely doing that. Thank you. Now we could do almost anything and still win. Okay, well, like, getting the clear skies, clear weather card is not really the additional card that we wanted to get from winning a round, but I mean, we're kind of doing our opponents a favor here if we were to play either spy, because at this point, we played almost anything, we've already won. So maybe we abandon that strategy, or maybe we do it anyway. Let's do it anyway. I'm curious what that one card is. Didn't really need the... It's a decoy as well. So now you have a spy. Well, actually, that's clever. So that would have meant they could have done absolutely nothing. They were guaranteed to lose. They had no way of having any strength out there. They, however, through taking that decoy, stole our spy. Now they will play it next turn. And I suppose, like, will give us strength, but they'll get 2 more cards. So as to whether that pays off for them, who knows, but we'll get more cards when we play this spy. So we have an 8-to-1 card advantage. Here they play the spy on our side, they get 2 cards back. So they can still play things, but they're going to be hard-pressed to emerge victorious here. So what we'll do is we will... Now we've got all of our siege stuff, it seems. We will absolutely bombard him. Unless he has something to nerf that siege row. I don't even know what your leader ability was. Should probably look. What was that? Draw a card from your opponent's discard pile. Oh, maybe that was the plan all along. I mean, still, even if you had a siege nerf, we still have clear weather, which might actually be relevant now, depending on what you opt to do. So we're just gonna load up further. And this should be... Well, that's another spy. Making us stronger, but giving you more cards. Suddenly, yeah, you have cards to play. I think we will still be fine, though. Want to be a little careful, because we won't have any cards with strength if our opponent starts to outplay us here. But we can still double everything here. So they're nerfing the melee row, which is interesting, because that does weaken us, them and us, but I think we had more in the melee row than they did. So technically speaking, what we could do, what we should do if we're trying to absolutely maximize our power for this turn, and say we're all in for this one, is use the Commander's Horn here to double the melee row, which isn't going to do a lot, but it does something. And then we have our leader ability, which does the same thing, but it can only do it for the siege row. Let's do this here. Gives us just a tiny little boost. 2-point boost. And yeah, your last card is not really significant. You have to pass, because you're out of cards. And we've definitely won here, just to show you what I meant. We'll use this. Which is basically a Commander's Horn in Siege. So, activate that. And now we're back up to the 60s. So we definitely get a comfortable win at that point. And yeah, our opponent absolutely handed us that one in round 1. I mean, we were looking like we were going to win. What they should have done was...
say the card's mine.
Ooh.
Oi, 'tis indeed.
What are you going to give us?
Cards. Believe you're good enough to try your luck against Hattie. Folk laugh at him because he's young and a bit dim, but word is, he weren't afraid to beat the Baron himself.
We got Letho. Wow. Okay, so that might be the type of card we're talking about that we might have missed by not having the chance to face the Baron. Letho, I'm pretty sure, we take a look, had 10. Ooh, not tutorials. Not sure why tutorial brought us back to that menu. But I'm pretty sure he had 10 strength. Possibly in addition to other things too. There he is, 10. Yeah, that's simple, just 10. Oh, and heroes not affected by any special cards or abilities. Wow. Yeah, Black Infantry Archer is 10. Heavy Zeracanian Fire Scorpion is also 10. Guard is just so strong in terms of the base power of all their units, it seems. Outside of Cynthia. Yeah, so that's interesting. We might be able to make that work soon. And at least it seems like it might turn into a pretty top-heavy deck where we have some extremely powerful 10 strength cards, and then for the end, we might start to get down to 2s, at which point we'd say, alright, maybe not great. So it would be helpful to get a little bit more on the Nilfgaardian side, but we're getting close. And yeah, the fact that we got a 10 strength hero from that guy doesn't make me feel any better about not having the chance to go against the Baron. No, I've not forgotten. So let's resume. What I was going to do was see next person is in mid-comps. Let's perhaps go after them. And did we get experience from that? We should have, right? Yeah, we're now level 14. So what does that mean? That means we should have an additional skill point. And where do we want to spend that? We need to use one more skill point to unlock the next row in combat. It's probably worthwhile. I think we're a ways away from getting that in the sign territory. Yeah, need a lot there. We haven't done anything in alchemy. These general ones seem like they're kind of one-offs. They definitely are one-off type things, and it seems like we've gotten the ones that are most immediately relevant to us. Although it's been a while since I last looked at them. Bomb damage increased, but the number of bombs in slots is decreased. Like, deal lots of damage with your bombs, but you don't have a lot of them. Oh, like if enemies hit us with that stuff? Yeah. I don't know. Some of these things maybe later on. Each piece of light armor increases critical hit damage. Like, once we... I think you guys were saying, ultimately we will want to start to commit more to a specific type of armor definitively. Light, medium, or heavy. And maybe once we do that, then it'll start to make sense to pick up one of these abilities, but for the time being, it doesn't seem like that's crucially important for us to get one of those. We get this next slot at... Ooh. Oh, this one's actually next. Oh, it's only 15. Okay. I was gonna say, if it's 22 next time we get a new slot, then it'll be a little while. But just one more level, that's obviously pretty quick. So yeah, I think it probably makes sense for us to go one more on the melee side of things. Adrenaline points to loss, lowered by 20%. Time slowed by additional 15% while aiming crossbow. Would be helpful, but I do just generally hate the crossbow, so I am reluctant to invest in it. Yeah, I think the strength attack probably is most helpful here because we've, yeah, done the maximum for the fast attack. Again, I almost never use it, but in case we want to. I've been throwing it in very occasionally. Oh, did I just threw it in there. I didn't actually upgrade it. Here we go. Okay. Were we using the strength ability there? Or the power attack ability there? Or did we have something else? We have gourmet equipped. Might have had the vitality. I think we had strong pack though. I probably do prefer that still, again, on the assumption that it's going to be very infrequently that we use the strength attack. We'll have it there, ready to go in case we do find that we pick up another slot, in which case, maybe it's our next best thing. Next one is mid-cop. Oh, and Bennett? Okay, I guess we'll go to Bennett because I happen to go in that direction. So it's this person somewhere over here. The old... Oh, it's the old sage. Really?
Oh, you're back.
That I am. I heard
Wanted to ask
you're a
you.
bit of a card player, you see.
I play.
I know what you're
And
going to
I-
say.
We can play for the prize card in my collection.
You a mind reader?
The good gods did bless me with some precognition. I say some, because it's selective like, only applies to mundane matters.
Like, say, the cards that we're going to play.
Shit on me, but all my foresight's never helped me win a gwent.
Oh, okay. Just making sure you don't have some tactical advantage here.
Let's lay him out.
Not cheating. Okay, so I'm kind of interested to see what would happen if we tried to do this and make an actual Nilfgaardian deck. Can we put enough cards together to make it happen? If we can, then we can ask ourselves if we actually want to run it. Mostly just picking cards with the highest values here, because I don't think we have too many that do special things, other than this guy. Use a card from your discard pile and play it instantly. I think that is a good option for us. Even if it has low base strength. And we need way more unit cards. We need 22. There are more here. I was just reluctant to throw in some of our weaker ones. It probably does mean we need to put these guys in here. At which point, I'd say, yeah, you know, or we just don't have enough, first and foremost. So it's not possible. But ideally, we'd have enough better units that we could get rid of this guy, this guy, this guy. These guys are the ones that get double strength if you play them next to each other. So they're better than the 3 implies, but 3 times 2 is still just 6, which is not amazing, because we have some cards here that are 10s and 9s and more 10s, so yeah, I think we're getting closer, yes, to getting to the point where we can do Nilfgaard, but we're probably not there yet. And I think we still have a long ways to go for anything else other than, of course, Northern Realms. And Northern Realms seems to have been working for us. So let's go for it. This guy is a monster person. I might have known. Okay, so we have Commander's Horn. We have some of the people who get powered up when they're in a pair, except we don't have their match. Is unfortunate. Especially for this guy, because that does mean you become our weakest card. You are very good, because you have 5 strength, which is, of course, better, and also allows us to play something from our graveyard. So that sounds good. Do we settle for that, or do we get greedy and try to swap something else out? Having Commander's Sword, I think, is nice flexibility there. We have a bit of a mix between melee, range, and siege. Dennis is a spy as well. That gives us some flexibility there in terms of if we want to deliberately take a turn, take a round in which we expect to lose, and use that to draw some cards, prepare for a different round. But I think this is pretty well rounded. Oh, we go first this time. Okay. So do we want to start with melee, or do we want to start with range? I think it looks like we are weakest on melee. Zoltan's the only one we're actually going to play that stays on our side. The only other melee card we have is Stennis, and like we were saying, he's a spy. So I think what we do in that case is this round we go range, and we'll probably end up using Commander's Horn on that. And we really hope that our opponent doesn't have something to nerf the... Whoa, range row, what is that? Oh, it's the Drog. Some men cannot admit defeat. Some keep fighting from beyond the grave. So it's a hero, so it's not affected by special cards or abilities. That means that even if we could nerf the melee row, it wouldn't do anything to him. Let's just double check what your leader ability is. Double the strength of all your close combat units. Uh-oh. Les Commander's Horn is also present in that row. So I don't think that counts against this guy, because it's not affected by any special cards or abilities, either negative or positive. So in some ways, that's actually a good thing that his strongest card is a hero, and that hero is in the row that would otherwise be able to boost. So let's... Oh, the thing about... Oh no, you're in the siege. Okay, you're in the siege row. I was gonna say, if we were committing to the range row and one of our range cards has to draw upon things in our discard pile, and there's nothing in our discard pile, then that's not going to be terribly useful, except now it looks like there is something in our discard pile, so I now can eat my words. That's the first time we've seen something like that. Just outright delete something. Discard after playing kills the strongest cards on the battlefield. Excuse me? So you're saying that it doesn't affect this because it's a hero, so it's not affected by special? Well, again, not affected by the good things or the bad things, so... Yeah, that does kind of stink. And this, for us. And these guys, find any cards with the same name in your deck and play them instantly, so you had a few of them. That was really strong. This is going to be a tough one to pull out here. Play our other range card, and then we can double, but that's about it. There's commander ability to double the melee row, but again, like we were saying, it's not going to affect this guy here, which might mean that we have just enough. No, we're going to fall just short here. This is going to give us 30, and then if we play Zoltan, we'll get to 35, so if our opponent opts to do nothing else after this turn, then we could just barely eke out a victory. If, however, they continue to play cards, then we are in a really tough spot, and we might still need to play Stennis, deliberately take the loss, and find a way to split our cards between rounds 2 and rounds 3. That's going to be tough, because we're still going to have to win both of them. So let's double first. See what our opponent does. We want you to pass. If you did not pass, you are nerfing the siege row, which would have hurt us a lot if you had played that in a different round, but you didn't. So that helps. So I think we're throwing Zoltan down there, and again, at this point we're hoping you pass, even though it would mean you lose, which is probably unlikely. We played something in the row that you nerf. Okay, so this is an interesting one. If we are to pass here, it's tied. And that means our opponent needs to play another card if they want to win this round, in which case they would need to go on a card disadvantage to make that happen. And that might be playing right into our hand there. So it's tempting to pass here. I think we do. Because then our opponent has only 3 cards remaining, and they've already used their hero ability. Oh, they can use Clear Skies to remove the weather effects now. I mean, they did still have to play a card, of course, to do that. Why would you nerf the siege row to begin with if you're just going to clear it later? I don't know. Excuse me? You still have a card that's staying on the battlefield? I would like to know why that is. Why did that happen? Is that supposed to happen? I don't see anything here that says it's supposed to stay in between rounds. Okay. That potentially messes with us a little bit here, because I was hoping what we could do is, I mean, we could play just something like one of these siege units and still manage to get enough to have more strength than our opponent. Probably what we do here. Yeah, let's play the 6. Because that gives us just enough. We could play this one. Except we don't get to keep the card and put it in our hand, the one that we get from our discard pile. We play it instantly. So this is actually worth a lot more than 5. This is our best card right now. So we don't want to play that right now. We want to save that. So this is our weakest one. Let's do that. And pass. does mean that when we double the siege row, it's not going to be as good for this round. This card just always stays on the battlefield? What the heck, man? We do get an additional card when we win a round, so that is big. Or maybe it's the monster thing. Maybe that's what happens with monsters. That's their faction perk. I bet that's it. Okay, so what we do now is... Wait, do we get to pick which card? Choose one card, yeah. So what we do in that case is we're going to end up picking the Ballista, so that way we get all of our siege units back, and we get the most effectiveness as possible out of our siege row doubling. So let's... You want to do that immediately? I guess it doesn't really matter what order we do them in. Our opponent only has 3 cards here. The crones! And there are lots of crones! Uh-oh. Apparently, they were all in their hand, though. So the power of that card would be if you only had one card, or yeah, you only had one of the 3 crones in your hand at the moment, the rest were sitting in your deck. Normally, you would never be able to get any value out of those cards in your deck. If you play one of them directly from your hand, then suddenly you get a couple of cards from your deck that come out of nowhere to help you out. And so you're effectively playing with 3 cards in one rather than just one. However, on this occasion, it looked like instead of playing these cards from their deck, they had them in their hand. So basically just played 3 cards on one turn instead of spreading them out across 3. So it doesn't have any long-term effect. They're now completely out of cards, so we should be pretty safe here, I think. Play Siegfried. We're not going to beat you just yet, but we're close. Now we play this. Allows us to bring a card back. We bring back the Ballista. Just enough. And we could even get clever and play Stennis. Playing with fire a little bit here. But it totally paid off. Because then we do this. Further buff the siege row. And we do this. Further buff the siege row. And then we do this. And further buff the siege row. And then we win. Nice.
So is the suit.
Was worried for a second there.
I know where to find the finest slippery jacks this fall, but how to play and not lose, that I'll never know. A beautiful win. Take this card. You deserve it.
Alright, so is this
Know
also
of
going
any
to be
others who
0?
think went?
You've but one opponent worth your while in Velen, in the village of Midcops. They calls him Haddy. He's a tyke, barely a handful of summers to him, but don't let that fool ye.
He's the best Gwent seer I've ever seen.